All right, perfect. So again, thanks everyone for joining. So as you can see on the screen, this is the press print interface. This is something that we're going to be using going forward, right? As I said, for any requests, print specifically through Ricky and Robert and the team down there. This is going to be something that you'll see is evolving. The more we work in it, the more functionality that we add to the system. As new things become available, it will be added to the system. We'll notify everybody. We'll come up with some training documentation, quick tips as new things are added. As Denise and Jennifer chatted, and Chris Sparks, I believe, as well, you are all really our pilot group. We've gotten to a point where we consider it "quote unquote" final for individuals to get on, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to continue to improve it. As you are getting into the system, we would love to hear your feedback, whether that's filtered through Ricky and Robert or Denise. And they'll share with myself and two of my team members on the phone as well, Brian and Aiden. And we'll be continuing to kind of flush this out before opening it up to everybody at Presbyterian. First and foremost, just as kind of a note, what we're planning to do is have everybody be able to go on as of Friday. So we wanted to give you kind of this training, give you a chance to maybe look at some jobs and orders that you may have to put in starting on Friday. So that will be the plan for the rest of this week, if that's acceptable for everybody. And really, step one is, as long as you're on the Presbyterian network, all you have to do is go to this URL up here. So presprint.phs.org. So as long as you're signed in, we have everything squared away from the Active Directory side. So what it'll do is it'll automatically pull you in here with all of your own information. So the first thing you'll want to do when you get into here is go into the My Account. This is where all of your specific information is going to be, contact information, default shipping, billing, etc. Also some of the verbiage, don't be afraid of it. With the billing information, what we're really going to be doing is ensuring that account codes are used for more of a reporting purpose. We want to know, who's ordering from where throughout the Presbyterian side. So it has nothing to really do with billing or chargeback. But the most critical thing is to make sure your My Contact information is up to date once you get in. So it pulls kind of the straightforward information, your first name, last name, email. The more information that you have in the My Account page, the better off you will be. Gives Ricky, Robert, and the team more information to either communicate with you and connect with you on anything for your orders. Helps with any kind of delivery. The contact, especially, the system will be sending out very automated emails when you finalize, a job, when your job's completed. So again, the most information you can put in here, the better. It'll just make it easier as you're ordering to be able to communicate. Just for our purposes now, I'm not going to put anything else in, but you can see where everything lines up. So then what you'll do is save back. You can also down here apply the changes to your default addresses for both, this contact information, your billing and shipping. Always a good thing, so you don't have to do it multiple times over. Or if you really wanted to, you could just change to the personal address only, but I would assume just go with the default. And you'll save and go back. That would populate your information, all three of these main aspects up here. You'll see these email options as well. This is kind of the default run, is these four. The most critical, really, just to make sure you always have. You don't want to be inundated with emails, but making sure you have the box checked for when your order is completed. So that's when it's completed in the system, when it is produced, and it's either whether it's pickup or delivery, any of the above. Then you'll know when your job is done, and then it will be shipped or available for pickup to you. Also your order receipt. So this is going to be when you actually place the order. you'll get, we'll see on the screen, it'll have all the requirements and specs of your job. It'll also be emailed a copy to you, so you don't have to save the file for reference as your job is being completed. And then finally down here is the print options. So we have, the summary of this is really your default option. So whenever you make updates to this, this is just where the cart page is going to automatically ping. You can always change your specs for your jobs, but this is a good way for you to be able to save yourself some time. If you know that you're ordering, 99% of the time the same way, you're going to save yourself just an extra step as you're going through. So, output black and white or color, plex, which is single or double-sided. Always leave the scale down option, so it makes sure that your image, your file is as good as possible. But then paper, 8.5 by 11 standard is pretty much the go-to. But if there is any other page that or type of paper that you order on a regular basis, you can go with that. Walking through the binding options, so booklet, collation, perfect bind, plastic coil or staples, as well as folding and punching, so folds and 3-hole punch if you do order covers on a regular basis or other. So once you have that figured out and you save it, now after you've saved, any new cart, any new order is going to pull that as the default. And then, you can always get back to this page by just pressing this Presbyterian banner up at the top. So before moving on, are there any questions on the My Account page? All right, so we'll go with an upload file. So this is going to be any, singular order, standard order that you have. So I will just pull, and for whatever reason, that's once away. So give me 1 second. I'll download this test file for us. It looks like when I got out of there we go. So my apologies there. All right, so if I go to my downloads and grab my test file. All right, so when you upload your file, first thing is to provide an order name. So from a kind of critical nature, this is definitely used when you're referencing a job that may be in production. But most importantly, this is how you're going to be able to reference any jobs that you want to reorder in the future, which is a huge functionality of WebCRD and a real benefit to all of you, so that you're easily pulling the right one to reorder. Saves you a ton of steps in the future when you want to do any reorders from previous jobs sent through. So we'll name this test for now. Few things to know right away. On the right hand side, if you for whatever reason pulled the wrong file, you can just replace it. If you no longer need the cart, you can also just delete the item. If there's only one item, it'll start a new cart. And where it says continue shopping, this is if you want to upload additional files, say go back to here and upload multiple files within the same cart. Your quantity as well, make sure it's always defaulted to 1, but make sure that if 1 is not the number, to make that change, or it will always go through with a quantity of 1. Next, you'll be able to click the image in your actual file right here. So this test document, it'll pull up, this is an 8-page test document, but you'll be able to actually see the proof, make sure it's the right one. And then as well, right here where it says preview and change options, this is where you're going to actually be able to do any changes to your document. So as you can see, right now it pulled what I had put beforehand in my account page. So black and white, 8.5 by 11, standard 20-pound, one-sided. So if I am to make any changes here, so if I were to change it to color, now granted this just says test 1, test 2, but now my entire document is color. I'll do something a little easier so we can see it. If we said 2-sided, the preview is automatically going to change. So as you're making changes to your file, you're seeing the preview change in real time. So, before you're actually placing the order, you know exactly how it's going to be produced and, what you're actually going to get when it's completed. We'll throw on, 3-hole punch, right? As you're going through, you're going to see all of this change. So, all the icons will update accordingly. With the binding, I know before we had seen that there was the additional binding options. There's certain options that will only populate if your file matches the specification. So if there are certain options like say the perfect bind or tape bind, it's your file doesn't meet the minimum threshold for how many pages, then it won't populate. So, if you ever find that there's a finishing option, say that you need, and it's not showing up, it may be because of the number of pages in your file. And lastly, on the special instructions, which you'll see here as well as on the cart page, if you are producing you want the document produced any unique way, if there's something you don't see that should be on here, or just a note to the production team, this is where you'll be able to, write that note. It will come through with your job. It will be seen. Again, maybe a situation where if you don't see an option that you need for your job, this is where you can put a note that says, "This, I actually need this." Whether it's perfect bind, tape bind, but my document should be showing that. Then on the back end, the production team can take a look and confirm that. And once you're done with your print options, you'll get back to this page. You'll see that all of the changes I made in there have applied to my selected print options on the cart. This is also the second place where you can put in your special instructions. If you were to add anything in there, it'll show right here. This is what you wrote. And again, it will come through on the back end. So if I'm happy with everything up here, I can come into the shipping information options. So your order is going to auto-populate to the standard turnaround time, but you can always change the day based on this little calendar right here. Your selected shipping method, so either hold for pickup or local courier, and then what your estimate is. So if there's, if you'd like your order shipped by Friday, depending on the time of the day that you're selecting, it may update the delivery estimate. So say in this case, wouldn't be there until probably Monday. That's just an estimate, right? Obviously that can change depending on time of day and when it gets produced. You can always enter additional shipping instructions for the recipient. So if you are an individual that may be ordering on behalf of someone else, you can change this information here. This will always populate what is in your account. But if you were to edit this address and say I were to be ordering for Brian, I would change the information in here, make sure that it's going to him, and then modify the information for this order only. If you are always ordering on behalf of someone else, never for yourself, you can change it, create a new contact in your contacts list. So in the future, you can just pull that information. Don't have to do that every time. You can also make it your default shipping address if you are always ordering to another either suite or location. And then you can also potentially apply changes to all of your default information. Rarely, if ever, is that option used. And then when you're done there, it'll populate here. You can't enter additional shipping instructions if any are required, and then also your billing information. So this is where you would put your account code in. As I mentioned before, this is more for reporting, just seeing where jobs are coming through the new press print interface going forward, so that the production team knows kind of who are they producing for on a more regular basis. So you can either input your information here, you can do a lookup as well. So your value of the actual account code, and we have populated just about every account code available within Presbyterian into the system, so you'll be able to pull that from there. So for right now, I'll just do the example, and then you'll get a little green checkbox when your account code is valid. So if it matches the lookup and everything in there and matches the mask, so this process right here, then you're good to go and you can place your order. And once you place your order, this is what you're actually going to see also in the email that is sent over to you. You can always print it and just keep the this page, in your files, but you'll also get an email on that as well. So it's going to have everything from your actual order information to the order name, when you submitted it, when you requested it for, your name and the order number, your ordered items. So if you have multiple items, this is where they will populate, your billing and shipping information, and then what your actual print options were. Again, you can save this, but you'll get all of this information in an email as well. So you can reference it in either place. And then when you're done, you can either exit out or click back to the home screen from here. So I will I'll pause if there are any specific questions on this process.
So did you get to the order? Was it the upload a file is how you got to that screen into the cart? I'm sorry, I missed that step.
To get into the cart?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you click
So
on upload a file? Is that how you got
yeah.
there?
So
Okay.
if you upload the file, and I'm sorry if you can't see the pop up right now, but if you so
Yeah,
once
that's
you
fine.
yeah, so once you click the upload a file, you choose your file to upload, and you click open. That's what
And
will
that's
happen.
what throws you in the
Automatic.
cart.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Or you can
Okay.
also, so there is also the option of, and since I'm on the remote access, I don't have a ton of files on my desktop, but you do also have the option of dragging and dropping files into here as well.
Sure.
And
Okay.
you can do multiple at a time. You can select multiple at a time. If you have, multiple on the same cart page, that'll save you a step of going back, uploading another one individually from there. But yes, it'll automatically bring you right into the cart once you have a file put in.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. And another thing I did just want to know, may have missed it before. So, we have all the print options here. If there are specific print specs that you feel a lot of people are ordering on a regular basis, so, if almost everybody on this call right now were to say, hey, we always order, color, we'll just say color 8.5 by 11 standard, two-sided, with a we'll do with a single portrait staple. If this is something, say, a ton of people are constantly ordering, this is the standard thing that you would send over to production, let us know, because we can also make shortcuts up here, one-click print options, that you would just be able to click and it would apply everything to the order itself. So that's another way that we can just kind of save you a little bit of time when you're setting up your job. So when we're looking for feedback on usability, how the system's laid out, how the interface interacts with you, and we can potentially make some changes to make that easier. That's another thing that if you're going through this and you're saying it would be way easier if we just had a nice shortcut to get me right to this kind of job, and I know other people are ordering as well. That's another thing we can add. All right. So there's also the option here for ordering a special item. So this is predominantly used if you were to say have a hard copy or any kind of production that's done other than having a digital file. So if you were to say have a hard copy or something on a USB or something via email that you had, this is the way that you would do it. So I don't have the file with me, but I can either provide it to you via USB, or hard copy itself, or something along those lines that maybe you don't have that file. This is what you would do. So it'll, you would specify how many pages it is, what what the actual source is out of the drop down, what your requested action would be. So can you print it? Can you scan it to a PDF, print and archive, etc. And then any specific item instructions. Again, hey, I'm going to make sure that I provide this to you via USB. I'll connect with you, via email. And you can also actually set all of your print specs as well for the final product. This will allow, once it's actually produced, sent to the back end, Ricky, Robert, and team can actually upload the digital file for your order. which, for the future is how you would be able to reorder it. So whatever the final job specs are, however the job is finally produced, that is the version that you'll be able to reorder in the future. And it would follow the same process down here of shipping information, billing information, specifying how many quantity you want, and then placing your order from there. All right, and then finally, what I'll do is just show you the reorder uploaded files. So if you can either go to view order history or reorder uploaded files. If you go to view order history, you can see here the status is going to change kind of all the way through. So if your job is actually in the cart, but you haven't completed it yet, that's where that status comes from. If you did send the job through and it has not been completed yet, but is actually with the production team, it'll show production. If your job has been completed, then it will show complete. And finally, if for any reason you send your job through and had to cancel it, then that's what the status will show. So as you can see here, this is just a quick jump back into the cart to modify, finalize the order itself. And then here you have the option for anything that you've actually ordered, even if it is in production. Say you needed more of a quantity. Normally, you can connect with the production team, but at any point, if you want to reorder, you can either view it, make sure that what the actual order was is what you want to reorder. You can either return back if that's not the correct one, click reorder from here. It'll automatically add it to your cart, which I'll do a quick start the new cart and not save it. So if I go back here and I say I want to reorder this, it's going to pull the information. It's going to have all of the print specs I previously had, the order name, the same quantity that I had before. So if I just, if I had 100 in here, it would have pulled 100 from the last time. And as you can see down here, whatever my shipping method selected, whatever my account code that I input, you pretty much click reorder and then can go right down to place order. Maybe select the correct date that you want it available by. But other than that, pretty much everything else is already set up and you just place the order again. So very straightforward, very easy. As I said, on this home screen, you have a few different ways to do this, either view order history, reorder uploaded files, or click orders over here. So, a pretty streamlined process to make sure that you can get exactly what you had produced last time and get it done efficiently and effectively. So are there any questions on that step-by-step? All right. So at this point, I will just pause and kind of open it up to any questions you may have, either things that we've gone through thus far, or any questions on kind of the functionality of the system, things you may like to see at this point that you haven't seen yet, that we could potentially look into adding to the system, in the short term.
I was curious if within a job or a project prints request, if we have different plex requirements on different documents, if we're doing multiple documents, is that an option this could handle?
So are you saying within the same file or within different files in the same cart?
Within different files in the same cart.
Okay, so let me add another one of these. So now we'll have two files, right? So
Yes,
you
okay.
see, it breaks it
see.
up this way. So yeah, you work on it individually. You
Got
can have them, completely different, the exact same. Choose your different quantities, and then there is actually a way. So as we're going through this, if you needed it shipped to different people, we could also work through that as well. But yes, so basically the way that the cart's going to use it is it's all in the same order. So when you reference it in the future, it's all going to be under the same order, but it's just different jobs within the same order, and it kind of applies that independently.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And if I can jump in really quick, Justin, too. In addition to that, you can also specify each document can be single-sided or double-sided within the document itself. So if you want some pages double-sided, some single-sided, you can do that as well. The whole document doesn't have to be all double or all single. You can set specific pages to be single-sided versus double-sided and things of that nature as well, just as he's showing here.
Awesome. That's a great feature.
Yep. So, and Aiden, thanks for jumping in. So that's right down here. So this is just going to show you right page by page. If you choose this gallery view, you can actually also, so if I were to have, a full document, right, images, text, whole 9 yards, you can actually also say, well, I want these pages in color, I want the outsides in black and white, or vice versa, or only certain pages have to be in color for whatever reason. You can go about that independently. So, you can add blank pages. So if say these were covers, you could actually also add, say, a blank page beforehand. So now this will come through, this will be part of the file, but it's just going to be 100% blank. So you can add the filler in there, anything along those lines. And again, if you just right click on it, you'll see all of the options here. And change paper as well. So if it's 20 pound, but we'll say the front page has to be cover stock. Now you'll see that little icon right there that it's an exception page for the total document, and we'll give you kind of a rundown from there. All right, and if there aren't any more questions at this point, I just kind of want to get a temperature of the group. With the walkthrough today, would everyone be comfortable being able to jump into the system on Friday and go through the process we just outlined? Are there any other questions or clarifications that we can make at this point to help with the comfortability factor?
Did you indicate where this tool is going to be so we can get there?
Yep. So it's going to be whenever you're on the network, it's just opening up, say, Internet Explorer, Chrome, any of the web browsers that you may have, and you're just going to type in right here, and I'll make sure that it's added to the follow-up I send. So presprint.phs.org, and then as you'll already be logged in under your Presbyterian account, it'll automatically send you to this. So it'll pull your Presbyterian information on your account into the system, right? No usernames, passwords needed. So it's just a URL, and it'll pop you right over here. And I'll make sure that in my follow-up that I have both the URL again, as well as the link to the recording.
I have a question about if I'm assuming we would use this if we were doing a mailing that the mail center was sending out for us. So in that case, there wouldn't be any shipping of the materials. It would just be held at the mail center. Mm-hmm. Maybe Ricky or Robert, you could chime in on that too.
Yeah, maybe we could just add another drop down with just mail instead of local courier or old.
Yeah, absolutely. So for that shipping, that shipping option, we can definitely add one that says, mail request or something along those lines, so that Ricky and Robert would know that they're not, it's not going to be picked up. It's part of the mailing. Also, something that we are looking at to add to the system is going to be a mail merge option as well, so that there would be, we'll say in the short-term future is what we're looking at. Another shortcut on here, similar to these portlets, that would bring you to, say, a CSV multi-record upload for a mail merge, something additionally that we could bring in. But yeah, I'm assuming you meant if there's an actual printed piece that you would be sending in to be mailed.
Okay, and the paper options that we have are basically regular 20-pound copy paper or the cardstock. So this isn't something that could be used for a slick brochure or anything like that. It's the same print jobs that we would have done in-house previously. This is just a new way to order them. Is that right?
So that's also part of the feedback. If there's anything that does get sent through production, and maybe that's also something that we can talk about with Ricky and Robert and Denise. But if there are types of jobs, types of papers that you would send through to the production center that could be added, that's great feedback that we'd love to hear as well. We are looking to add as much as possible into this, so as to kind of siphon all of that, all of those kind of orders and volume through the system. That's great feedback as well.
I believe we would need either an option to identify which envelope to be used or line of business. I'm not quite sure how the best breakdown would be, and maybe Ricky or Robert would be able to help. But if we need to mail and use a Medicare envelope versus a Medicaid envelope or just a regular commercial envelope. So we have different types of envelopes, and so part of the request would may need to prompt the user to identify what type of envelope or line of business they're mailing out.
Yeah, and that is a great point. That is part of the that mail aspect that we're working to include as well in the short term. So again, that kind of feedback as well as you go in here as we're looking at adding additional mailings. We are going to be working with Ricky and Robert on that aspect of it to kind of grab everything that would need to be done for a mail request through the system. But yes, so what type of mailing? Any of that pertinent information that we would also grab, ahead of time, will definitely be added in.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Not a problem.
And is there a limitation on the type of files that we can print from? Does it have to be a PDF or can it be Word or a Word document?
So yes. If you have a PDF already, that's probably the easiest. We'll have to double check real quick. But there should be the ability to throw in a Word document if you were going to have an Excel file that need to be put to a PDF, which may happen sometime. PowerPoint. That can be sent in as well. I'm just checking real quick. There's kind of two ways to do it through the system, and off the top of my head, I forgot which one we went through. But whether it's directly through here, so if we were to just upload a file and it would automatically turn it into a PDF, or there may be something that we're working through with IT that would be kind of that PDF conversion device and bring you right into the system as well. So, Denise, you and I may have to talk offline about that and notify everybody once we identify it.
Okay.
All right. So are there any other questions at this point?
I'm sure there'll be questions once everybody starts using it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. There always are.
Or the mail merge option that's in the short-term future, perhaps being able to give input or understanding that process would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And my thought is that once we add that functionality, we probably have another one of these calls to kind of walk you through that, make sure there's some documentation to show what that all entails and kind of what the right way to go about it is. So we will definitely be in communication as we're adding that functionality in. Great. Well, again, I appreciate everyone jumping on today. So, the plan, as I mentioned before, will be to have everyone start on Friday. We'll send out a note. I will follow up with everyone on the recording link. So if you would like to access that going forward, you can, and as well as a few other of the highlights from today, including the URL, and then we'll let everyone know on Friday when we're ready to go. So I appreciate everyone jumping on again. Feel free to reach out again through Ricky, Robert, Denise. Myself, Brian, and Aiden are here to help and make sure everyone is having a good experience and it's as streamlined as possible. And we'll continue to build this out and hope everyone enjoys using it.
Great. Thank you, Justin.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.